Hello, good evening, everyone. I am Manish, and I'm here on behalf of the National Law Training Institute. Today, we have a very special guest among us, Dhruti, who got an All India rank of 82 in CLAT 2024. Firstly, congratulations, Dhruti. We did not get a chance to interact when the CLAT results came out, but right now, we are also honored to have you on our platform. And these kids, I am pretty sure they'll also benefit hearing from your insights and advice that you'll have to give to them. Dhruti, before we delve into the presentation that you have prepared, anything that you would want to share about your background? Which subjects did you have in class 12th? Was this your first attempt? Were you a dropper? All these things, like a brief introduction about yourself.
Okay. Hi guys. I'm Dhruti. I just finished my 12th from National Public School Rajajinagar. Whoever are from Bangalore, you might know this. So I am from Bangalore. I am not a dropper, so I just finished my 12th and I did commerce in my 12th. But I have a lot of friends right now who are like, who will be a seniors hopefully, who have done science. And so my background is that I'm from Bangalore, and I've been preparing. I prepared for CLAT for 1 year continuously. That is from Jan of 2023 to December of 2023.
Okay. When did you decide that you want to give CLAT? Was this like a pre-decided thing before you came into 11th? I'm assuming that since you took commerce, this might not be the only option that you would want to explore. When did you decide, like, ultimately that you want to give CLAT?
Okay, so honestly, I thought that I was really like decided on CLAT when I was in 10th itself. But then in 11th, I had like a little moment where I was like, okay, should I really do law? And then
Right.
I spoke to my parents, I spoke to a lot of other people, and I also did career counseling actually. And finally, after that, they made us take a few personality tests. And then finally, I decided that, law is the best option for me. Like, just as a side note, whoever is on this, like, stream, it's really
Yeah.
okay to be confused if you're in 11th or in 12th also. Like, it's okay to be confused. It's very normal part of the process. But I decided towards the like mid of 11 that I have decided on law itself, and then I started preparing from Jan.
Right. So, Dhruti, even kids are very tensed right now, so we'll not take a lot of their time. We'll delve right into the session that we planned on taking today. So, the hot burning issue that the students have right now, even after preparing for, let's say, 7, 8 months, September is almost here, is how to analyze mocks. They have been giving mocks relentlessly. Like, some of them appear for 7 mocks a week, some give 3 to 4 mocks a week. Even some are even starting out right now. The question that plagues them the most is how to analyze mocks. So, what was your strategy when you were preparing for CLAT, and what do you think after clearing CLAT now? What should be the ideal strategy of analyzing mocks?
Okay, so guys, when I'm giving you this advice, keep in mind that it is something that I use. So everybody is very different. Like, I have some friends who use a completely different strategy, and I use a completely different strategy. So when I'm telling you this is my advice, so like take it with a pinch of salt. So basically, the way that I used to analyze mocks is so a big mistake that I've seen people do after their mocks is like, okay, you write a mock, okay, you get a bad score, completely discard the mock. Absolutely not. That's something we should not do. Because
Right.
one thing to definitely remember is mocks are absolutely not an indicator of how good you are or anything else. Every mock is different. Like, whoever has been giving mocks now will easily know that every mock is different. Like, one mock you'll get like a 75, and one mock you'll get like a 90. It's like a
Yeah.
huge range because every section is different and it's a huge range. So how I used to analyze mocks is first, obviously correct the paper, and after I've corrected the paper, I used to basically correct the paper on a different sheet where I used to put down the five sections, that is English, GK, legal reasoning, logical reasoning, and then quantitative aptitude. And so once I put down the section, it gets easier to analyze how many mistakes I've made in each section. So once I've
Right.
analyzed how many mistakes I've made in each section, so imagine I've gotten an overall score of 75, right? And now I have to see, okay, which section is hitting me the hardest here. So I see that, okay, I've gotten four mistakes in legal reasoning. How is that possible? Go back to the question. Is it a question, when I read it again, if I'm still not able to understand, then I ask a faculty. Or if you, I mean, I'm sure that NLTI has mentorship sessions which are incredibly useful because I have seen so many like students here at NLS itself who are like incredibly, solid with these basics. So definitely ask a faculty. discuss with your friends. Extremely important, discuss with your friends. So imagine in legal reasoning, I've gotten six wrong, and then I analyze again. I don't get something, I ask a faculty or I ask a friend. If I get something, well and good. Now that's ingrained in my mind. Now, because I've gotten the most wrong in legal reasoning, I go back after the mock and I do one sectional of legal reasoning so that, next time I write a mock, it won't be in my mind that, okay, I got really bad in legal reasoning. How will it go this time and all? Because right after the mock, I've already written another sectional of legal reasoning. So that way I'm able to like solidify my, basics in legal reasoning. Now, in logical reasoning, the method is slightly different because we know that in logical reasoning there are very specific type of questions, right? Like you have main idea, you have conclusion, you have strengthening, weakening. So what I used to do in logical reasoning, if I used to get like too many mistakes in that section, is I used to go to logical reasoning. I used to be like, okay, I've gotten this wrong in assumption, I've gotten this one wrong in strengthening, one wrong in weakening. So then when I'm doing a sectional, I be more cognizant of that and I try to apply my basics stronger. So that's how you need to analyze according to everything. So that was my strategy. I've a lot of my friends, they used to discuss every single question, the ones that they got and the ones that they
Yeah.
didn't. So some people saying out loud the principle behind it really helps. So definitely two strategies here: either take a sectional or discuss with your friends or discuss with your faculty.
Right. Just to summarize what you had to say on this. So let's say you got four questions wrong. You chose like what were the main topics from which you got the questions wrong? Let's say arguments, assumption, inference, conclusion. And after you have identified that out of four questions, these are the four things that are disturbing me the most, then you'll go back, you'll attempt another sectional. And when you face another question from the same concept that you recently got wrong, you'll be a little more careful and apply the principles better
Yeah,
from what you have learned recently from your previous mock. So this is how
exactly.
you tackled your weakest topics, let's say,
Yeah,
from a particular subject. Right. So again, one question, just to clarify for the benefit of all the students, you did not go through the correct answers that you got in a mock. You primarily focused on the wrong answers from a
yeah.
mock, right? Yeah.
I primarily
Right.
focus on the wrong answers only in the sense that, see, right answers, if you're getting something by tukka or you're like, okay, I got this,
Yeah.
like it was a fluke, then that's something you definitely need to look at again. If you're able to look at this question and go, okay, I am solid, I know why I chose this, then it's okay
Yeah.
because, I understand that after a mock, it's 2 hours, you're so tired. It's like very difficult to sit and be like, okay, let's analyze this mock. So, let's like keep it a little simple. Try and analyze the ones that you got wrong and the ones that you're doing fluke.
Right. Also, Dhruti, is there like specific time that you should give to mock analysis? There are a lot of teachers, like in a lot of coaching institutes, that say that if you do not spend 2 hours on analyzing a mock, you are wasting a mock. I do not personally believe in that aspect
I
that you
don't
have
think
to
it's good
necessarily
either.
spend 2 hours, because I think it's a waste of time if you are able to do something in like 45 minutes. Similarly goes for newspaper reading also. Some say that you have to spend 3 hours on a newspaper. If and my personal belief is if you can do it in 30 minutes, even that is fine. So what do you think on this? Like, is there a specific time that you should spend on mock analysis?
Okay, I'm going to be very serious. If somebody's saying that you need to spend 2 hours in mock analysis, that's incredibly unreasonable because your
Yeah.
your mock is of 2 hours and then you want to spend another 2 hours in mock analysis. That's 4 hours of your day gone. So
Yeah.
ideally, I used to spend about 45 minutes because I look at what I got wrong, look at the principle. And I used to analyze my GK, which I will come to when I'm doing the slides. I used to analyze the GK section. So that's what took me time. But 2 hours is like a little too high, according to me, because honestly, going back and see, I've just written CLAT,
Yeah.
and I also know that going back and looking at your mistakes again and again also is detrimental to yourself. Like, you're like, oh, I got
Right.
this wrong. Like, spending too
How
much
can I
time on
get
your
this
mistakes
wrong?
also
Yeah.
is, yeah, very hard. So I don't think that's a good strategy. 2 hours is too much according to me.
Too much. Yeah. Also, Dhruti, were you like a regular school goer, or were you like a dummy admission? If that's a concept here that exists in Bangalore, I don't know. Like in North, there is this concept of dummy admission, that you take admission in a school, but you do not have to go to a school. But
Okay.
did you regularly go to school while you were preparing for CLAT? And if yes, how did you manage both the things, especially in the last 3 months? Because I'm assuming a lot of students might have their semester exams also in September, October, and that is also the time when you have to pace up your CLAT preparation. So, how do you suggest one should manage both CLAT and class 12th?
Okay, so I was a regular school goer. We don't have the concept of dummy admission. I was a regular school goer. I had 90% attendance, guys. Let's clap for me. So
Damn.
I had
Do you have
90%
that much
attendance.
attendance in NLS?
Oh, I'm already below that. I'm so serious. So
Yeah,
basically, I used to go to school regularly. And what I'm going to say about semester exam, please do not go back to your teachers and tell them this, but do not take it that seriously. Mainly because any place that you're applying to, even if it's not, even if you don't get into like through CLAT, most law
yeah,
schools do not look at your semester exam papers. They only look at your board marks. And even if you're taking your semester exam seriously, like get above like 70, which is still like a reasonable amount to be in. Because right now, what you need to do focus on is upping the ante. Because right now, I'm sure you must be having a little bit of GK backlog. You must be panicking
yeah,
that, okay, how am I still getting the same questions wrong? Like, I get that. That panic is valid. So, when you're trying to prepare for semester exams, like, devote time to it such that it does not really completely hamper with your CLAT prep. Like, I'm not saying that, oh my God, during semester exams, take 3 mocks a week and stuff. During semester exams, just don't let your flow go away. Because once your flow goes away, getting it back is really hard. So
right.
maybe during a
Yeah,
semester exams, 1 mock a week is okay. Just reading the newspaper for 10 minutes, like at least something to keep that flow going. Don't completely cut yourself off from CLAT because when you have to restart again, it feels like you're coming back to something completely alien. So just try to keep the flow going.
right. Also, like, how was your normal day while you were preparing for CLAT and also you went to school? I am assuming like most of your time, at least till the afternoon, would be spent in school. So, what did you do after you came back from school? Did you appear for mocks on the days that you went to school? And how did you ultimately manage everything on one single day, school with CLAT?
Okay. So guys, I was a little bit crazy at that time. I used to survive on like completely caffeine. So do not take my advice very seriously. But personally, I am still an abider by it. I used to write my mock from 4 to 6 in the morning, and then analyze it from 6 to
In the
6:45.
morning?
Yeah.
Oh,
Because I used to
right.
write before school and go. So when I come back,
Okay.
I'm able to write my sectional. So I used to write my mock from 4 to 6 in the morning, 6 to 6:45, analyze, then watch TV for 30 minutes, and then head to school. So and then after I come back from school, write a small sectional, attend a class, or hang out with my friends, or like discuss with my friends whatever I wrote. So usually so I had a small study group that I had. So in that
Yeah.
we used to take the mocks either on the same day or like 1 or 2 days here and there, mainly because you know that every mock is subjective, right? So when somebody else is writing the mock with you, you're able to gauge the hardness of the mock. Because if only you're
Yeah.
writing it and you find it hard, then you're not really sure if it's a hard mock or you're just finding it hard. So that having a study group to write mocks with helps you also gauge the hardness of the mock and your uh, how solid your principles are. So that's what I used to do. And then I used to have classes. I used to attend, I honestly didn't attend a lot of classes. I only attended my quants class and I used to attend my logical class mainly because they used to do sectionals in class. So I used to
Right.
attend and so I used to attend these 3 classes, then come back home, sleep early, and then redo the whole thing.
Right. Got it. A lot of students here do not have study buddy groups. So if you are also one amongst them, you can consider joining NLTI. NLTI will provide you with a study buddy group, which is mentored by an All India ranker, CLAT topper, who is also studying in NLS. So if you are someone who is looking for a study buddy group, along with guidance and accountability, you can consider joining NLTI, and you can find more details about it on our website. Dhruti, you mentioned about GK backlog. This is also something that is troubling a lot of students right now. September aa gaya hai, and their like 6 7 months backlog is still there. Like, which months should they cover right now, considering that they have very limited time? And if, let's say, you tell them 4 to 5 months, how should they cover like those GK from those backlog months?
Okay. So in my opinion, 6 to 8 months is the correct amount to cover. Because
Okay.
6 months is ideally correct, but 8 months just to like little bit satiate your guilt. So six to
So
eight
you
months
are
is the
saying
correct amount to
8 months before the CLAT. Like, if CLAT is
before
in
the CLAT.
December,
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah. Before
okay,
December. 8 months
right,
before December. So like
okay,
start from March, Feb March.
March.
So that's like the March is the correct according to me, that's the correct that's when I actually started preparing really hard because honestly I had a really big GK backlog in September and I had to cover a lot. So I will just tell you what I did.
Right. Yeah.
So at that point I really didn't have time to covered newspapers as well as coaching material, because as we know, like morning getting up, reading the newspaper, seeing like figuring out what is important, what is not important is really hard. And I'm sure that NLTI also releases compendiums. So
Yeah.
what you need to do is, what these coaching institutes do is identify the important topics from every newspaper. So they're basically simplifying your work for you. So what I used to do is,
Yeah.
newspaper, all I did was read editorials. That is only to strengthen my logical reasoning. And I used to cover my GK from compendiums from different coaching institutes. NLTI was one of them. But I used to cover my yeah. So coaching material is fine enough to cover backlog, but you need to be judicious with what you're using. There is something called too much material, because if you see more than four sources, you'll realize that the same topics start repeating. Like
Yeah.
in my during my paper, I had the Chandrayaan was a big topic then, and every paper had, like every coaching institute had it. So reading the same thing five times is not really going to help you very much. Second thing, please have a research doc for your GK material, because 1 month before your CLAT is when you're going to start revising. And if you do not have it compiled, it will be very difficult for you to revise, because it will be like you have collected material from random places. So have a GK doc. It does not necessarily have to be written. If you only remember how to or if you only remember from writing, then I mean that's your thing. But I used to have a Google Doc, research doc, and I used to put down all my material there. And I'm telling you seriously, why right before my CLAT, it was the easiest thing to revise that. So compile all your material. And for GK backlog specifically, so you can either do weekly or you can do daily. In my opinion, you should do like a weekly kind of thing. So I think a few of you might know something called a CL month in.
Yeah.
CL month in 2.0. So that's something they release weekly. So I used to cover
Right.
that, and I used to cover LPT Express. So where to get these material, you can get these on Telegram, and you can ask your mentors. I'm sure that even the NLTI mentors
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
these
Yeah.
NLTI compendiums. So try to cover these three sources. Limit yourself to these three sources, or whatever other sources you're comfortable with, but ideally keep yourself to three sources and cover your backlog like this. So April, if you take 2 weeks, so 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, 2 weeks, like that, you'll be done with all your material before December, and you'll even have time to revise.
Right. So your primary, so my primary takeaway from this thing is that the best way to cover backlog is from coaching compendiums,
Yeah,
and you need to restrict yourself to 2 to 3 sources max,
yeah,
because ultimately it will become very repetitive and also become very hard on you. So best thing to cover backlog for everyone who have just joined us and who missed out on what Dhruti just said. Best way to cover backlog is to cover GK compendiums, including NLTI GK Gazette, LPT Express, CL Manthan 2.0, and restrict yourselves to 3 to 4, 2 to 3 sources at max. And what you can do is, let's say you cover April in 2 weeks, May in 2 weeks, then June in 2 weeks. Ultimately, you'll cover everything from your backlog by December. Uh, so I think, Dhruti, with that, I'll leave you to present your document that you have shared. While covering the strategy, try to shed some light on how to make GK notes, because that is also something that students are not clear with. You told them that there should be a research doc, but how to effectively make that research doc, whether it should be handwritten, whether it should be online, and what all things they should include in that research doc. Try to speak a little about that.
yeah, done. Okay.
Yeah.
So guys, I will now present and tell you a little bit, like just a comprehensive kind of guide to 4 months to CLAT.
I'm
Vivan,
really sorry to interrupt you, Dhruti. Yeah, everyone feel free to drop in your doubts in the comment section. We will be taking up all your doubts either at the end of the session, or as and when your doubt comes up in the presentation. Cool.
yeah. So
Sorry to
guys, I can
interrupt you, Dhruti. You can go ahead.
no
Yeah.
problem. I can see your doubts, guys. So if you can keep sending me your doubts as I'm presenting, I'll be able to also answer your doubts simultaneously. So I would prefer if you send me your doubts as when I'm presenting. Vivan, you told me about the document for every month. When I'm covering GK, I'll cover your doubt. Okay. Okay. So, hi guys, my name is Dhruti, and I know that there's only 4 months to CLAT left, and there's a little bit of panic going around in the air. I'll try my best to give you guys a strategy, because I know that when other people give strategies, they try to be a little vague. I'm going to try to be as specific as I can. Also, just a reminder, take this with a pinch of salt because everybody is different in everybody's strategy, and what works for someone will not work for the other. So take it with a pinch of salt, and let's start. So the first one is mock strategy. Um, Ideally, right now, you should be taking 3 mocks a week, mainly because you also have to focus on your GK. Remember that mocks are not the end all be all. Focus on your other sections, mainly because if your basics are not strong in your other sections, then how many ever mocks you give, your score will never improve. Okay, and so 3 a week right now is ideal, and as you once you get comfortable with 3 a week, the transition to 4 a week will get more comfortable. So right now 3 a week is ideal. Yeah. Okay. Analysis. I think at the start of the session I've covered analysis, but just to reiterate, analysis is basically after you finish your mock, you look back at the questions you got wrong and the questions you got by fluke, and you analyze them, analyze why you got it wrong, and if you got it as a fluke, analyze the basic principle behind it. Every section is different. Like for example, I'll try to do like a logical analysis right now. So imagine you got an assumption question wrong, right? Most of these answer keys will have a reasoning as to why they have chosen a C as the correct option. So you look at the reasoning, you're like, okay, this is the reasoning. What did I think? And then you check it. You basically see what's different between the two, and you alter your thinking that way. So basically, what mocks are, and what my dad used to keep telling me is mocks are just a feedback loop. So you just everything you do, take nothing personally, because no mock is a personal reflection of any of your capabilities. Do not take any mock personally. Every mock is just a feedback loop. Everything just keeps feeding into your skills. So whenever you analyze, never take it personally. And also, guys, please don't spend too much time in analyzing, mainly because it gets very, very tiring after one point, and you'll stop enjoying giving mocks because after every mock, you'll be like so tired of analyzing. Do not analyze for too long. Uh, According to me, the cap should be at 1 hour. That's also a stretch, but do not analyze for too long, right? And sectionals. So as I've said at the start of the call, so sorry to repeat, but just in case anybody has joined now, what I used to do is at the end of every mock, I used to check which section I got the most wrong in. Like imagine I got legal 6 wrong, logical 5 wrong, like that. I would do a sectional of legal because I got most wrong in that, and I would want to this. Okay, this basically helps in 2 things. Number one, it helps make sure that your basics are very strong, because as you do more and more sectionals, you have less stress to complete in time, but you have more time to see what is the basic principle behind every question type. And number two, this really really helps with your confidence, because when you give a sectional and you're perpetually going to do better in that sectional because you don't have stress about time, or you don't have stress about okay, I have to do so many other sections, it really really helps with your confidence. So just to recap before I move on to the next slide, uh, currently 3 mocks a week is a good amount of mocks to give. Analysis, you need to analyze your mock. Please do not exceed more than 1 hour, because you will stop enjoying giving mocks and it will become very monotonous and very very mentally exhausting for you. Analysis, look at what you got wrong and why you got it wrong. It's not only important to look at what you got wrong, but you need to identify why you got it wrong, and look at the explanation given by the coaching and try to match your explanation to it. And if you have answered something by fluke, try and match your reasoning to that. And slowly, slowly, as you're looking at more and more coaching reasonings, you'll be able to understand that, okay, so this is the reasoning, this is the reasoning. And then it slowly becomes a feedback loop in your own mind. That's analysis. And number three, sectionals. Give sectionals based on whichever section you got the most wrong in your previous mock. Like today's mock, you got legal reasoning the most wrong, you give a sectional in that. Tomorrow you get logical wrong, you give a sectional in that. This helps in 2 things: confidence as well as overall accuracy. Yeah. I'll be moving forward now. um, Preeti, I don't think 2 hours is reasonable, mainly because as I said, it becomes very monotonous and exhausting. So try and little bit reduce your time in analysis, and you can spend that time in maybe giving a sectional and making concrete progress. Okay, next, GK strategy. So, first thing, at this point, newspaper is not the way to go, because if you have a GK backlog right now, reading newspaper as well as doing coaching institute material is extremely unrealistic, because you also have to give mocks, you also have to do other sections, you also have to make other basics strong. GK is not your only section. Okay, before I start GK strategy, let me make something very, very clear. GK is not your only section. Like, I am very serious right now. Do not hyper focus on GK. GK is not your only sectional. If you get even full in GK and you don't do well in the other sections, you don't have a chance. So do not hyper focus on GK. First thing, newspaper is not the way to go right now. The right way to go right now is coaching institute magazines. So as I've stated before, coaching institute magazines, please limit yourself to 2 to 3 sources, because at the end of the day, you start seeing that okay, the same topics keep repeating in every source. Yeah. So limit yourself to 2 to 3 sources. Personally, the sources that I really liked were the CL Manthan, the one that they release weekly for. So they cover only the most important topics. So I really liked that. I really liked the CLAT Express released by LPT. I really liked NLTI's compendium. And finally, sometimes when I got really bored of reading, because I'm sure that you guys will be able to relate to me, but sometimes when you're doing GK, you just get really, really bored of reading. Like, it gets really exhausting, because for mocks also you have to read, but you have to do sections also you have to read. It's very exhausting at one point. So I used to really like watching YouTube videos to do GK. Um, I don't know if he's still here. Do you guys know 12 minutes to CLAT? So 12 minutes to CLAT, I used to watch that a lot. So when I used to get bored of reading, I used to watch 12 minutes to CLAT a lot, because it used to give me a break. And I used to still be able to cover GK without really having to put so much energy into it. So these are my 4 sources that I would recommend. Um, I think somebody had mentioned another source here. uh, I'm not able to. Is CLAT Post a good option monthly instead of weekly? I'm so sorry. I don't know. I didn't use CLAT Post, and not a lot of my friends did either. They were mostly using NLTI's compendium as well as CLAT Express. So I'm not really sure. I won't be commenting on that. So Mukti, I'll be talking about what you're saying right now. Doing Manthan and LPT GK material is really good option, and finally mock analysis. So let me tell you why I've written mock analysis here. So basically, every mock you give is not, even if you get the worst marks in it, it's not useless. It's because every mock has GK in it, right? So whatever questions you didn't get, you don't really need to make like completely big notes on it, because you have your notes right there. You have your notes right in that mock, because in that mock itself, you can see that, okay, these are the questions that they're identified. And okay, I will just Google the answers. And once I Google the answers, okay, like subconsciously, you'll get that in your mind. So analyze the GK of your mocks, and subconsciously, it starts like, um, just sitting in your mind. So do that. Never ever let a mock go before analyzing the GK section. It is like a golden treasure that a lot of people just give up on, but it's extremely important. Analyze the GK section of your mock. And it's not analyze as in like, okay, I have to make exhaustive notes on this topic. No, you don't have to make that. Just have to see the answers, remember the answers, and then next time you write a mock, you'll be like, oh, I remember this. And even if the same question doesn't come, but the same topic comes, it gives you a better standing to guess the answer. Um, so GK strategy is this. I'll try to cover something else. How to make GK notes? Yeah. So Anisha told me that I could cover that. So how to make GK notes? Basically, so when you read 2 or 3 coaching institute magazines, what you start to notice is that some topics are clearly repeating in every magazine, right? So once you see which topics are repeating, those topics are the ones that you need to put more focus on. Okay, those topics are the ones that you need to put more focus on. And some topics are stuff that will be mentioned in class, or um, like your friends are making a lot of notes on those. Like, share notes with your friends. So how to make GK notes? The topics that keep repeating in every magazine are the ones that you must make really, really good notes on, and the others, just like Okay, let's take the example of basically imagine. So basically for us we had Chandrayaan, right? So I had to make notes on ISRO because it was the body that was launching Chandrayaan. So what I did was I googled the year, the founder, the current chairman, and like other important details about ISRO, and then I made just points. You don't even need to make like full sentences, just points. Okay. And even in these coaching institutes, if you've realized, they give it as points. So just identify important points from that. Remember that CLAT is a very objective type paper, right? It's not a subjective paper. So the questions that they're going to ask are also going to be objective. It's going to be things like which year was it, or who is the chairman, or stuff like that. It won't be something that's like, oh, tell me about the functions of ISRO. They're not going to ask things like that because it's an objective paper. um, so I hope that the doubt is clear. If it's not clear, then you can ask me something a little more specific on how to make GK notes, and I can cover it at the end. You have a document for every month, but the thing is, I don't know what I just mentioned that. So basically, try to compile the 6 months into one document. So when you're revising 1 month before CLAT, you're able to like easily revise everything at once, and you don't have to keep referring to different documents. So that's one advice I would give you. Compile all your research into one document, or if you're making handwritten notes, try to make it in one book, or if you're making it in two books, try to keep the books together and keep both of them safe. So another question that Anish had asked me is that how many should I make, like digital notes or handwritten notes? Again, every person is different, so it's going to be like specific to each person. I like digital notes because it allowed me to take screenshots of important things. I could type easily, I could highlight easily, I could make something bold. So I really like to make notes online. I know friends who prefer to make handwritten notes because that helps them remember much better. So it's completely up to you. What I would suggest is that for extremely important topics, like for me, Chandrayaan was an extremely important topic. Project Tiger was really important. So for topics like that, I made handwritten notes, and for other topics that are not really that important but are like should be covered, I made digital notes. So Lokesh, how many topics in total are there till December? Like the number of topics that must be covered. See, there isn't really like a number that can be given, right? Like it depends on the important topics of every year. Like every year it changes. Like you can't really have like a specific number. But ideally, try to identify like 10 main major issues from every month that you must cover in deep detail. Like identify 10 issues from every, or 10 news articles from every month that you must cover in like exhaustive detail, and another 10 topics that need to just know important points of. Okay, now how to get resources. So now at this point, I'm sure you guys must be wondering how do you get resources. So basically, I will tell you a few ways to get resources. First one, NLTI website. As you guys know, NLTI has study groups, mentors, etc. They will help you get the resources you require. If not, and I'm telling you, it's a really good avenue to get resources. So please use that. Number two, Telegram. So Telegram is like a hidden gem of the CLAT world. Basically, every material you could ever want is on Telegram. So all you need to do is go to Telegram and then search, and then just search CLAT. So you see to put CLAT, and then it gives you like 10 different study groups of CLAT. So once you join a study group, they consistently send mocks, they send GK material, they send logical sectionals, legal sectionals. And I remember there are groups where there'll be a thread, and every single mock that LPT has ever published will be on the Telegram group. So join Telegram groups, because I personally used to really like legal edge mocks, but I was not, I didn't pay for the services. So I used to go on Telegram and then find these legal edge mocks and then take the legal edge mocks. So go to Telegram because it's a really good source for all these mock resources, logical resources, legal sectionals, QT questions, QT formula sheet. Everything will be there on Telegram. So use Telegram. And number three, make a study group. So why am I reiterating again and again to make a study group is mostly because a study group not only helps um, uh, in giving you confidence and like just friendship, but also you can share resources with each other. Like imagine your friend is in a legal edge, you're in CL, and the other person is in NLTI. You can share resources with each other. You can share mocks. You can share sectionals, and that way you can share with each other, take mocks together, understand which mocks are helping you guys, which mocks are not helping you guys. So it's important to have a study group. And how Anish has also said, NLTI does have a study buddy program, and it is moderated by a student of NLS who are very, very solid in their concepts. So do go for that if you don't have a study group already. But making a study group is important because sharing of resources, taking mocks together, taking sections together is extremely important. So this is how to get resources. Guys, I've kept my whole slide thing quite short only because I want to answer more specific questions of you guys, because I feel like if I just keep rambling on about vague topics, I won't be really helping a lot. So now I will be taking questions from you guys. Um, so I guess, okay. Is coaching material fine? Vivan, is coaching material fine to cover GK backlog? Um, I think that it is fine mainly because in September right now you don't really have time to sit and cover like newspaper every day, right? Making notes on newspaper every day right now is not a reasonable thing to do. So coaching material will be your God savior. Okay. Okay. A random dude. Okay. A mock score never above 80. The top scorers seem to get 100 plus most of the time. I feel like I'm lacking any chance of me getting into NLS. First thing, bro, stop comparing yourself. Like, there is always going to be somebody better than you. Like, I'm seriously telling you, stop comparing yourself. It's not helping you at all, because by you comparing yourself to the toppers, your mental state of mind is what's getting spoiled while the toppers are still continuing to be toppers. So stop comparing yourself to others. Instead of doing that, spend more time on identifying what's actually wrong. The time is waste in comparing yourself to others. Spend it in something better, like finding out why my assumption questions are not coming wrong or why my logical is going so bad. So try and do that. How to make GK notes? Okay, covered. How to increase reading speed? um so basically, you should just, something that I used to do before, like just to help my reading speed, was that I used to track what I'm reading with my finger. So it helps me like easily it helps me go faster, and also it helps me actually retain the information because I can actively track what I'm reading. So one thing that actually helped me a lot was tracking what I'm reading with my finger. And guys, I'm telling you one thing right now: use everything at your disposal. And by everything, I mean everything. So in the CLAT paper, you are allowed to annotate. So when you take a pen, circle something. Like in legal reasoning, circle what's important, underline, circle, anything, make side notes, anything that works for you, do that. Do not like idly sit and read, because that's the worst thing you can do. Idly sitting and reading is the worst thing you can do. Underlining, circling, that is the way to go. So try to do that, underline, circle, etc. Try to do stuff like that. That really helps, because when you have to refer back when you read a question, you don't have to read the whole paragraph. You can just see the circle bars and be like, okay, that's it, that's it, that's it. It helps you answer questions faster. It helps you be less exhausted because you don't have to read the whole paragraph again. So definitely do that. Annotate, use every resource at your disposal. How many marks should I give before CLAT? Again, that's not really something I can answer. Everybody is really different. Like some people need a mock every day to keep the continuity going. Some people prefer to take 3 mocks and spend the rest of the time on their basics. So whatever works for you. My personal advice is try out everything once. Like 1 week, try taking 7 mocks. 1 week, try taking 3 mocks. So you like once you do that, you'll understand that okay, this is what I really can't do. Because personally, I could not do 7 mocks. I am not someone who can take 7 mocks in a week because I get extremely exhausted. I just take 3 mocks, then I gradually up it to 4 mocks in October. Do not, push yourself to a limit that you cannot. So everybody is different. Don't compare. and try out every strategy once. Whichever works for you, that's it, works for you. Anushri, I'm sorry. I'm unable to focus for 2 hours straight, need help in that. So I think a lot of people here can't focus for 2 hours straight, mainly because they're like, before they even started, like, shit, I need to read so much. Stop thinking of mocks as a chore and instead think of mocks as something that you want to do for yourself. Like, if you think of mocks as a chore even before you start writing the mock, it becomes very difficult to remain interested in it. So my advice is, don't think of mocks as a chore, but instead, like, when you're writing a mock, be like, okay, I'm doing this because I want to do this and because I want to be in NLS next year. So do it like that. Like, and then when you're writing a mock, just empty your brain, like, just completely empty your brain, don't think of anything else, just like completely empty your brain and be like, I'm sure that personally, like, when I was writing mocks in August, I got really really scared because I used to be like, okay, what if I don't get it analyzed, like, I'll disappoint my parents, then what will people think of me, etc etc. No, that is just not the things you should be thinking during a mock, because already the material in the paragraph, it's hard enough as it is. If you're thinking about all this, it gets really hard. So just to focus for 2 hours straight, think of this as something you want to do for yourself, something that you're genuinely interested in, and then go for it. How exactly do you prepare for legal? Because no such extra knowledge is needed for CLAT. Um, do sectionals, do more and more sectionals, because I'm sure that some topics must be repeating in sectionals, because negligence definitely repeats in sectionals. Assault repeats in sectionals, theft repeats in sectionals. So when there's no, you don't really need to know any extra knowledge, because you guys are not lawyers. I'm also not a lawyer. And when you're preparing for CLAT, be cognizant of that fact, that you don't really need to know, like, they're not going to ask you in the paper, oh, what does this act say? That's not what they're going to ask you. So instead of doing that, take more and more sectionals that will allow you to make a principle stronger. So that's what you need to do to prepare for legal. How to increase accuracy in CR? Again, as I said before, take more sectionals. And while you're taking sectionals, don't take it passively, take it actively. So, okay, another important point, do not be a passive reader, be an active reader. And what does that mean? Passive reading is reading like how you're reading a storybook. That's not what we're doing here. CLAT is not a passive reader's exam, it's an active reader's exam. When you're reading, it's important to annotate. And when you're reading, it's important to be cognizant of what you're reading exactly. Like, before you start reading, understand, okay, this is an economic paragraph. Okay, I will, like, tune my mind accordingly. Okay, this is a philosophical paragraph. I will tune my mind accordingly. This is a social thinking paragraph. I'll tune my mind accordingly. International paragraph, tune my mind accordingly. Historical paragraph, tune my mind accordingly. And another thing, so as we have all noticed now, CR has very, very specific question types, right? It has assumption, it has strengthening and weakening, it has main idea, it has conclusion. Um, if I'm missing out something, I'm really sorry, but these are the ones that I remember. It has inference. It has inference. So answer a question based on what they have asked. If they've asked you for assumption, look at the options from a point of view of assumption. And as you guys know, there are a few, like, very important points about CR. Like, okay, I'll say it now. Like, this is what really, really helped me improve my score in CR. Number one, never, ever, ever go for the extreme option. If an option says always, never, forever, ever, never go for that option. Mainly because people are never going to make extreme claims, especially in a paragraph that they're writing. So never go for the extreme option. Number two, don't go for vague options. If an option is too vague, that's not the option you need to be going for. Number three, if it has false information. If some information is false, that's not the option you must be going for. It's really not the option you must be going for. Imagine something says that, oh, India is not a country, it's a city. Why would you go for that option? This is obviously a very exaggerated version of a false option, but I hope you're getting my point. And finally, if there's an option that contains material outside the paragraph, don't go for that option, because why would you go for an option that contains some information out of that paragraph? So just to conclude, the four things you must not be going for are extreme options, vague options, options that are false, and options that contain material that is outside the paragraph. My questions are okay. I'm a second dropper, and I feel that. So exactly what should I do at this point? Again, don't compare yourself to others. Like everybody's different. Like I have a dropper friend here, and he's doing so good right now. He's so smart, and it's like everybody has their own process. So don't compare. And for the huge backlog of GK, I just mentioned what to do. Ideally, you guys should be taking 2 weeks at max. 10 days to 2 weeks, so 10 to 14 days is the ideal amount you must be taking to cover 1 month of backlog, because I'm sure it must not be taking that long. If you're able to devote like 2 hours every day, you'll be easily able to complete it in like 10 to 14 days. 14 days is still a stretch. 10 days you'll be easily able to complete it, and then you'll have a month to revise all the material. Okay, this is a very different question. What to eat or drink before CLAT, because it's from 2 to 4. Don't eat something that's very heavy, because you'll start feeling very sleepy because it is 2 to 4. So don't eat something very heavy. So yeah, how were your mocks around this time last year? Honestly, around this time last year, I was in my 75s. I was trying to figure out. I was in my 75 to like early 80s. So I was trying to figure out what exactly is happening, because so there is this, okay, so something that if you've been giving mocks for some time, you'll understand there is a phenomenon called plateau. So basically plateau of marks is something that happens when you keep getting the same mark again and again and again, and you're not able to go up. You reach stagnation point. So what you need to do at this point is take a step back and look at what is happening, because once you take a step back and stop looking at it so close, you'll understand that okay, there is clearly a section that I'm weak in. When I was doing this last year, I got so irritated. 1 week I did not even give a single mock, and then when I came back, I'm like, I need to figure out what I need to do. And when I looked at it from like a little bit more relaxed perspective, I could clearly see that my logical reasoning was my worst section. It was really bad. That's where I was losing very, very badly. So if you're really stagnating that bad and you're really getting frustrated, take a break. Really take a break, because you exhausting yourself is not going to help anyone, especially not you. So my mocks were like at this point that I plateaued, and then I was able to take a step back and come back. My mock score is stuck between 55 to 60. I don't understand the language of legal. Any tips to enhance grasping power of legal? Again, as I said before, sectionals. As you take more and more sectionals, the topics tend to repeat, like negligence, like assault, battery, etc. So as you take more and more sections, we'll be able to catch more and more concepts of legal. I'm always stuck between two options in legal, and sometimes I misinterpret the data. How to avoid and face that again? So when you're stuck between two options in legal, you try to implement those four tips that I told you, and usually one gets eliminated. And sometimes I just like look at the longer option and tick it. But that's not a good idea. Do not do that. Use the four tips that I told you. That will probably help you. I'm always stuck between sometimes I misinterpret the data, how to avoid and face that. Again, misinterpreting the data is when you like look at something and you're like, okay, this is see options that are false or extreme and stuff, you won't realize when you're reading, because you're like, okay, this makes sense. But when you look at it again and you try to interpret and you put the tips, it'll get easier for you. Okay, I made mistakes in analysis, that and again the mistake will repeat. That basically means that your analysis is not the way that it should be. In the sense that, also, guys, when I'm telling you advice, please do not take this personally. I'm not making a personal comment on you at all. I just want to help you guys. I made mistakes in analysis, that and again the mistake will repeat. So, what you're trying to do right now is that you're just looking at a mistake and you're like, okay, I make this mistake, next time I won't. That's not how it works. Like assumption will have like an underlying like principle to it, right? Like if you see like strengthening questions, some questions in strengthening are like, okay, strengthen this claim. but other questions like strengthen the whole argument. So you need to first identify what is the argument to strengthen it, right? Like that's a principle of strengthening question type. So when you are making a mistake, analyze the principle behind it, not just the question. Does that make sense to you guys? Like, it's not just a question. Like, if you are analyzing just a question, that's a band aid measure. That's not going to help you. Analyzing the principle behind it is what's going to help you in the long run. I'm getting between 70 to 85, and my marks with logical being the worst. How can I improve it? Okay, I tried to cover that. If you guys are really, really getting exhausted, take a break for a few days and come back with a fresh mind. You'll be able to identify which section is not going well for you. Which institutes mocks do you use regularly? I used to take regularly. I used to take NLTI, LPT, and like legal edge mocks. Legal edge being my favorite. Is one mock per week and one or two sections daily okay? One mock per week, in my opinion, is a little less at this point in time, mainly because you want to get more into the mode of it and more used to the pattern of mocks. Because as you take 3 mocks a week, you get more used to the idea of taking, like, you know,
Hi guys, I think there has been an internet issue on Dhruti's part. Let's just wait for another 1-2 minutes, and I think she'll be joining back. Uh, Till then, if you have any questions with respect to how NLTI works, what NLTI provides, feel free to ask your doubts in the comment section. Right now, I am not sure if you've heard about it, but NLTI is in a collaboration with Legal Edge, where if you purchase our courses, you will get Legal Edge test series for free. So there's one editorial course priced 1500. Our test series is priced at rupees 2000, and our personal mentorship course till CLAT 2025 is priced at rupees 3500. um, with all these purchases, you will get Legal Edge standard test series worth rupees 5000 absolutely free of cost. So you are essentially getting double the return on your money if you choose to enroll with us. uh, any other question about NLTI, feel free to drop it in the comment section till we wait for Dhruti to return. I'm pretty sure she'll try to join back in. I'm really sorry, guys. NLS internet do acts up sometimes. I think Dhruti is back. Hi,
I,
Dhruti. Can you hear me?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, I can
I'm
hear you.
so sorry. I just lost my
It's
Wi-Fi.
it's completely okay. It's completely okay.
Yeah, I'll just go back to answering questions now.
Yeah.
So sorry,
Also,
guys.
just
I
try
need.
to wrap it up in another 10 minutes. I have another session after this. I'll need to end this stream before starting the another one. So just try to wrap everything up in another 10 minutes.
Yep, I just need another 5 minutes, and then I
Cool,
just
cool, cool.
give my concluding remarks, and I'm done. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. Thank you. Also, like if it's possible, you can turn on your video, but if the internet is very bad, it's okay.
Yeah, just give me 2 minutes. I'll turn it on. Yeah.
Sure, sure.
Um. So I'm so sorry, guys. Do attempting offline mocks play a crucial role in preparation, or giving at home is sufficient? Okay, I'll tell you why giving an offline mock is important. This is because when you're writing an offline mock, you're it's kind of like giving mock with other people who are also writing CLAT, so that it ups the pressure scale. Like if you're writing at home and in the comfort of your home, you're sitting on a dining table, it's more of a chill situation than writing an actual mock in CLAT. Because I'm telling you guys something, CLAT, when you're writing it at the center, it's very different. You're in the middle of people who have seriously prepared for the past year or 6 months or whatever. It's different. So writing mocks offline is extremely important. Try to do that as much as you can. But if you don't have the time sufficient, mock giving at home is also okay. If you guys are able to write one mock a week offline, that's also really good. My QT is the worst. I hate it. What should I do? Um, okay, so what I have noticed when I was preparing for QT is that there are like the same topics which repeat in every section, right? Like ratio, profit and loss, those strain questions, linear equations. These are the topics that keep repeating in every section again and again. So what you should do is try and identify these topics and just work on them, because I'm sure that there'll be an exhaustive list of um, like formulas. Just focus on those formulas and then keep applying those formulas again and again. Whether to focus on what to focus on more, concept or practice. Once you are able to solidify your concept, practice becomes easier. So when you're practicing also, what you're trying to do, you're trying to solidify your concept. So I would say concept is most important. I'm not good at quant, but my English and logical. Should I focus on strengthening my English or strengthening my quant more? Try to be balanced, no, because quant is a section that you should not give up on in any situation, because those 10, 12 marks can be the differentiating factor between you and another student. So don't give up on quant. Like, make it a little more balanced. Focus on both together. Didi, did you also make more mistakes in logical reasoning, and how did you improve it? Again, the same thing that I've said before. Try to use those 4 tips that I've stated above. And when you're doing sectionals, be like aware of the fact that, take a little more stress, like a little less stress, and try and get the concepts very like solid in your mind. I think I have to wrap up now, guys. Uh, Thank you, NLTI, for having me. And I'm really grateful for it, you guys, for joining. And I hope that it has helped you guys at least a little bit. Um, Also, guys, genuinely go for the study buddy program. It's a really good initiative by NLTI, because it helps in your confidence, and it just like generally helps. It like just generally helps, like, in your preparation. So go for it, guys. I really hope that this time your CLAT goes good. I think it's on December 1st, right? So I hope your CLAT goes good. Best of luck to all of you. Hope to see some of you guys as our juniors soon.
Right. Thank you so much, Dhruti, for taking out time. I know how tough NLS gets sometimes. I reached out to a lot of other students also for taking similar sessions. Even they have committed to like Saturdays and Sundays. But thank you so much for taking out time on a Thursday night and taking this session. I'm pretty sure all of the aspirants loved what you had to say, and surely they'll take away a lot of things for the CLAT preparation. Again, thank you everyone for joining in. I hope you found the session useful. If you want more such mentorship sessions, you can consider joining NLTI, where you'll essentially get mentors like Dhruti, who will be like your best friends in your CLAT preparation journey for the next 3 months, and we will be there in your ups and downs and help you to crack CLAT. Thank you everyone again. Have a good night, Dhruti. Thanks again for joining and taking this
Thank
session.
you. Thank you so much for having me. Thank you
Thank
guys
you.
for joining.
Thank you.